These are the answers to Unit 1 Multiple Choice Quiz B. Problems 6, 8, 18 were bad for both classes, and 12 was an issue for 8th period. Again, you should always pause the video when the question is on the screen, write up an answer, and then look at the answer screen. So the first one gives you 27 salaries with a mean and a standard deviation, adds a 28th employee, and asks you about some measures of center and variability properties. So if they give you a center and a spread, it's not a bad idea to draw a very brief sketch of what's going on. 35,000 is in the center, going up 3 standard deviations and down 3 standard deviations is going to be pretty much the entire distribution regardless of shape. If the 28th employee makes $120,000, that is very far off to the right. So the range certainly is going to change. Option 2 is out. The mean will increase because if you add an influential number, the mean is affected by extreme values. And then finally, the median, because you're just adding one more piece of information, the median could change by half a position, which means it's not likely to change. I guess the best answer is D, although a case could be made that choice 3 or option B is also a pretty good answer, but choice D is the correct official answer. Second question also gives you a mean and tells you a percentile, and then asks you to find the standard deviation. So what's tricky about this one is that the 28% is not a z-value. You calculate a z-value and then you use it to find a percentile, but you can answer this question without actually calculating the z-value. Substitute in the numbers that you know, 76 and 103. You know that the standard deviation has to be positive, and since the numerator is negative, you know your z-value has to be negative. Since 28 is not a z-score, that eliminates A and B. Since you know that your z-score must be negative, that eliminates E. And then the subtraction of value minus mean is 76 minus 103, not the other way around. D is the correct answer. Next one gives you summary statistics and a box plot and asks you about properties. So in this case, looking at the vocabulary, range is max minus min, 45, that's not correct. Sample size, 43, no, the output says the sample size was 45, so that's not correct. At least 50% of the people who attended the lecture were 43 or younger. The median is 44, not 43, so that one's out. D winds up being the correct answer because the third quartile of 53 years means that 75% were at or below that value. And then finally, E is close, but it's missing the or younger part. 25% were 33 years old. That is the first quartile, but it needs to be 33 years old or younger. So best and only answer is D. Last question gives you the 5-number summary for 2 different types of worker, electrical and concrete, and asks you about properties for each of those distributions. Since you're told to use the 1.5 times the RQR rule, it's a good idea to calculate those for both electric and concrete. Calculations produce 63 above the quartiles and 69 away from the quartiles for the electrical and the concrete group give you numbers to look at. Since 383 and 377 are both above the maximum values, there are no outliers on the high side. Since 239 is inside of 215, this is not an outlier, but 186 is outside of 193, so concrete's minimum is an outlier. So A and B are out because they both do not have outliers. C, there is one outlier. D, concrete has one lower outlier is the correct statement, and E is also incorrect. Okay, that's it.